channel, and it's July. Half year is already gone. Can you believe it? My TBS still thinks it's January. But anyways, so it's already time for mid-year freakout tag, and I know I'm a bit late for this, but hey, better late than never, right? Before I start with the tag question and answers, let me quickly take you through my reading stats. Here we go. This is a Storygraph stats. I read total 51 books over 15,000 pages. Most of the books I read were fiction, medium paced books. I read books from my physical TBR more. Most read genre was romance and fantasy and classic, and my average rating is 4. That is very good. This is Goodreads stats, and I have set it for 80 books. And this is how many I read so far. So the first question is best book you have read in 2025 so far. There were many good books I have read. Looking at my average rating, that there were many I gave 5 stars, but the best in no particular order are like this. First was A Lady's Formula for Love by Elizabeth Everett. I really enjoyed this one. It is a feminist STEM historical romance. It follows the story of Violet, who is a widow, and she has started Athena's Retreat Club for women who loves to dabble into science. And now she is on a mission from a crown that brings danger knocking at her door. But she needs to be very careful with the Athena's retreat as well, and as well as her safety. So for her safety, her stepson appoints a bodyguard, Arthur Neeland. Of course, the chemistry explodes, literally. It was super fun and delightful historical romance with lots of steam and fun. I really enjoyed this one. Next was A Perfect Equation by Elizabeth Everett. This is also a sequel of A Lady's Formula for Love. This was my reread. I first read this when it was released back in, I think, 2022. The reread was just absolutely as amazing as the first time read. I found The Perfect Equation just perfect. It follows the story of Letitia Finlay, who is the second founder of Athena's Retreat. She is a mathematician, and now that Violet and Arthur are together and they were facing some problem issues in their life, they have decided to retreat to countryside to her aunt for a few months, and she has left Letitia in charge of the club, but not alone, because danger is still there for the club and the ladies working in the club. So she also asked her stepson William Greycliffe to protect Athena's retreat and help Letitia running the club. Now Gray is about to be promoted as a director of the secret agency that is working for the crown, and to show his loyalty to this agency he has to make some changes, and the first change on the list is closing the Athena's retreat. So here things gets very complicated because Letty and Gray knew each other before, and that past, what happened before, explains their animosity for each other. As they spend more time, Gray trying to close the club, Letty trying to fight him to save the club, their equation somehow fits. Overall, this was filled with witty banter, sizzling chemistry, and amazing feminist theme. It was totally unputdownable. Next on the list is Valley of Fear, 7th in the Sherlock Holmes series. This was very tense and gloomy, very atmospheric as well. It started with murder mystery at Bristleton Manor and Sherlock investigating the case. This had a 2 parts format like Study in Scarlet. First part is Sherlock investigating the mystery, and second part takes the reader 20 years back, telling the story of a victim in an American mining town that triggered the present crime. Overall, this was dark, tense, classic mystery with the sharp plot and cunning characters. Next on the list is People We Meet on a Vacation. This is a story of Poppy and Alex, best friends who takes summer trips every year until their last trip to Croatia ruins the friendship. Now, to the present, Poppy had her dream life, her dream job, everything she loved. But one thing she is missing is Alex. So, to repair the broken friendship, Poppy convinces Alex to take one last trip to repair their lost connection, and it will also decide where they stand with their friendship and the feelings that are more than just friendship. Overall, this was beautiful, tender, emotionally layered contemporary romance that I absolutely loved. It was my first Emily Henry book, and I still love it more than other books I am reading. The next on the list, last on the list actually, is The Housemaid's Secret. I finished this whole series. First book was a bit predictable. I did not enjoy the third book, but somehow I loved the middle book. The story of Millie, who is housemaid, and she takes job at wealthy Garrick's. She discovers that Mrs. Garrick is in a danger, and she promises her to protect her from her husband, and that leads her into a game of deception and revenge. Why I love this in the series is because it is thrilling, tense, and fast paced, and also all the twists and turns was really surprising. There were also some jaw dropping moments, and I absolutely love that in a thriller. So, the next question is the best sequel you read so far in 2025, The Ashish and the Stacker's Cake. I know many will not agree with me because the first book, The Serpent and the Wings of Night, sets the standard. The ship between Ora and Rain was super amazing, and in this book, we don't feel the same about the relationship between Ora and Rain because things have changed a lot after the end of the first book. Plus, Ora and Rain are married now. What I love the most here is Uriah doesn't make it easy for Rain to win her over. Also, I loved the political intrigue and blood-soaked battle. They were all action-packed, and plot twists and turns were super amazing. World building was super immersive. So overall, this was very addictive, fast-paced, high-stake, emotionally charged vampire fantasy, and I am going to continue this series and see what happens. Another sequel I loved was The Lady Sparks Flame by Elizabeth Everett. This is the second book in Damsels of Discovery, a spin-off series of Secret Scientists of London series that I talked about. This follows the story of Phoebe Hunt, third founder of Dina's Retreat Club. Because of her terrible action in Ladies Formula for Love, the first book of Secret Scientist of London series, she was exiled from London. She didn't plan to return back. But her abusive father is dead now, and he has left behind debt. She plans to settle his estate, make sure her sister and mother are well settled, and return back to America where she reinvented her life. What she didn't plan was falling for Samuel Finlay. Overall, this was a touching, layered historical romance that tackles trauma and resilience of women. So the next question is new releases you haven't read but you want to. Well, there is endless list of the books. I received so many EARCs since the beginning of the year, but I still haven't managed to read them all. So I am going to list few books that were recently released, that is in June. First is Just Beachy. This is a story of a former actress who needs a reset in her life and reunites with her grandmother, her first crush, and ladies of 10 Beach Roads. I don't know what is that, but we will see when I read the book. And looks like this is a summer read about reinvention and second chances. The next one is Eliza and the Duke. Aliza here is an American heiress, and before she dives into marriage of convenience, she wants to have a last adventure, and she spends very wicked nights with Simon Kevin, who is former prize fighter and was hired to watch out for Eliza and her mother and sister. It is going to be very interesting and steamy, I think. Next is Making Friends Can Be Murder. This is a story of a 40-year-old Sarah who unknowingly befriends con artist and gets involved in a murder mystery. This is going to be interesting, fun, and playful, and filled with drama. Next on the list is When Harvey Dumped Mary. In this, Harvey is secretly in love with his best friend Mari, who is going to get married really soon, like in a 6 week. So Harvey sets out to convince Mary that he is the right man for her, and so the race begins against the time and the clash of a past friendship. This sounds like a heartfelt rom-com with lightning charm and second chances. Next on the list is The Passenger on Hankyu Train. I hope I'm saying it right. This follows the story of several individuals who travels by Japanese commute train and their individual stories and also how their lives intertwine as they travel. It's been some time I read Japanese fiction, so this is going to be really interesting. Next question is the most anticipated release for 2025. I usually don't go into anticipating books, but one book I am really excited about that is releasing in the second half of the year is Uncharmed by Lucy Jane Wood. I read first book Rewished by the same author last year in 2024, and it was one of my favorite book of the year, and it was really cozy and light fantasy that I really loved. Uncharmed is sequel but follows story of another witch Annie who was tasked to mentor a young witch Mimi. And that turns her carefully constructed perfect life upside down. I already have e-arc of this book and I'm really excited to read this one. So the next is biggest disappointment in 2025 so far. Kalki by Kevin Misser. Kalki is a story of avatar of Lord Vishnu who is destined to purge the world from evil in Kali Yuga. Now, this concept is really interesting, and I expected to like this one. Plot had lots of potential as well, but this turned out a big disappointment. The writing was not that impressive, and yes, it is a fast pace. There is lots of action, but Kalki took like entire series to learn what he was supposed to learn to destroy the evil of the world. Funny part is the person who is evil in the book actually he learned all the skills or power he got like in 3 or 4 chapters, and it took Kalki for entire series. I mean, really. So, like I said, this had lots of potential, but it was very poorly executed. And one more thing I didn't like is there was no like little bit of character depth, and I don't like that one. And yes, I tortured myself by finishing the whole series. Don't ask me why. Another disappointment was Modern Divination. This was a recent release in 2025, and this is urban fantasy that takes place in a world where witches lives among humans, but of course in a secret. It follows two academic rivals, Aurelia and Theodore, and they get dragged into dangerous mystery when their fellow classmate and also a witch get murdered in a plain sight. Expected a lot of murder mystery in this and a little bit about magic spells and all that, but this turned out pretty confusing. The mystery also takes a sidestep, and I didn't like that. And also, there was not a lot of suspense as well because we know who the villain is from the like beginning of the book. Another thing I didn't like in this was there was not a pretty good explanation about the motive as well. So, in short, this is also a book which had a lot of potential but poorly executed. Biggest surprise, The 7 O'Clock Club. This is about four strangers who were brought together by a therapist for for an experiment on a grief therapy. Now, it was amazing to see all these four strangers come together every week at 7 o'clock and talk about, slowly open up and talk about their grief and loss. At first, I wasn't sure about the book, but this turned out super amazing. It is beautifully written, emotionally layered, and absolutely unforgettable contemporary with the magical realism that comes as a twist in the climax. And I did not see that coming. Even though I knew this was a magical realism, and even though I have seen in it reviews people talking about that twist that changed everything, it was really amazing. Newest fictional crush. Dominic Davenport in King of Greed. I think many will not agree with me because this was not the most liked book in the series, and I have seen many mixed reviews for this, and I could understand why. But I like Dominic in this. He did not make a good first impression in the book. He did not realize what he was losing in his chase of the king of the Wall Street and staying at that position until he is served with a divorce paper by Alexandra. And let's just say I love the way he won her back. It's not easy for a person who is chasing his dream for so long to change his life so drastically, and he did it for Alexandra, and that was really amazing. His persistence and not giving up on that marriage just won my heart. So I like him. Who is favorite character? Sloane in King of Sloth and Oriah in Crowns of Nyxia series. One thing you should know about me is that I love strong, fierce, fiery female protagonists. And both Sloane and Oriah were there. They were definition of strong. Book that made you cry. Now, I am kind of a person who cries easily while reading the book, but I haven't come across a book that made me so cry. Yes, there were many books that made me shed happy tears, but not exactly super poignant book. I would like to mention here were there are few emotionally layered books that made me cry more than just happy tears, and they were 7 O'Clock Club and Witchery. Books that made you happy. There were so many. The list is endless. But one I would put on this list above every other book is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. It was endlessly witty and very comforting book. Another one was The Love Remedy. It was quirky and full of healing heart. Most beautiful book you have bought this year? Let me get to it. So there are two books that I bought recently, and I love the covers of these books. First is In the Lives of Puppets. I read Cerulean Sea by Clun, and also Somewhere Beyond the Sea, and both were my favorite in 2024, and I absolutely loved the books. I also enjoyed Under the Whispering Door by this author, and I'm slowly going through all his book titles out there. Another is Spectacular. This is a Caravel novella, and I bought this along with Caravel series, and I'm really excited to start this series as well. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? So many. The list is endless. There is literally a huge backlog that I keep saying I will read this year, I will read this year, but I cannot. But this year I have decided to read Dreamland Billionaire series. I am late to this billionaire party, but I am determined to read this series before the year end. Favorite book to movie adaptation? I don't think there are any favorite. I watched Persuasion and Pride and Prejudice movies after reading the books, and I watched the latest version of the movies. Many people said that older movies were better than this one. So yes, I watched them, I enjoyed them, but I will not say they are my favorite. So that's a wrap of my media freakout tag. Let me know in the comments what's the best book you read in 2025 so far, also the book that surprised you the most. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, comment and hit that bell button so you don't miss out on the future bookish videos. Until next time, keep reading, keep daydreaming, and always carry a book in your bag.